Aristas, Krimvase, Azantes, welcome, video lovers, welcome to Tac Nerd 1.0. Adventurers, it is November, the cold months are here, and hunting season has come upon all of the land. So I thought we would discuss maybe a very classic, probably the classic hunting rifle in the United States, and that is the 3030. But this one I have not talked about yet on this channel, and this is my Rossi 95. And these came out a few years ago. There has been a lever action craze, I would say, for the past few years, and I think that's one of the reasons these came out. They did have a 3030 in the Rossi 92, I believe. I think it was called something else. I don't remember the name of it, but that was discontinued some time ago. And then the Rossi 92s that they have now are pretty much just the like the pistol caliber ones, 357, 44, such like that. I don't believe they have any actual rifles in them. But this came out a few years ago. They have several models out now. This is the 3030, as I said. I don't know if they have a 4570. They may. I do know they also have a 45 Colt. They do have a couple models of these, and I believe this one is called the Trapper, and that is because it does have the tubular magazine does not go all the way to the front. It's kind of halvesies here. So, and I believe that's what they call it, the Trapper version, which is what I was looking for. I do like the look of this. Now I know I lose probably a couple rounds, but it doesn't really matter. It's a lever action, and it's not that hard to load. Plus, you've got enough in there to hunt with. So really that's about it. Now, as I said, got this a few years ago. Rossi has, should we say, a reputation for being somewhat of a bargain brand. And it is true. They do have some fairly cheap rifles and pistols, but they have taken in the past few years, they've taken sort of another turn on some of that reputation, and they have started to build some very, very nice firearms. And this is definitely one of them. This is not like a lot of their other builds. It is exquisite. It really is. If you go to a store and you get the opportunity, just handle one of these. I think you will agree it's on par with the other lever action rifles that are out there. And I know that's saying a lot because there are some really good things out there. There's, especially Henrys and such like that. And I've owned Henrys. I own a Henry now, but these really, really are very nice. Now, this one is based on the Marlin 336, so it does have a lot of that look, and it does take most 336 parts and such. There are a couple things that are different, though. The one thing in particular, what I wanted to point out is the ejector here. And I have to open it for a bit. Now, these are more like what you would find on probably really like a bolt, like an AR bolt, something like that, where the 336s really just had, I don't know, I guess you would call it maybe like a leaf spring or something there. And very often they would just kind of get bent or wore out. Now, a lot of people I know, they said you could just bend them back, but a lot of times they would have trouble with those, and it was a problem with them. However, these work really well. Now, that combined with some of the other advantages that this firearm does have, why you really should look at one of these and some of the features it has. Now, first off, it is the really kind of classic lever action design. The R95 retains a quintessential look and feel of tradition for lever action rifles. It is chambered in the quintessential 3030 Winchester cartridge, which really is, or at least it has become, one of the primary lever action chamberings. I would say the only other thing even close to it, well, maybe like 22 long rifle, but really the only thing that would come close is probably like a 4570. And that's going to put you in the poorhouse trying to feed that thing. So these really are the kind of, Eastern United States classic woodland hunting rifle, where you've got maybe a bit of brush and such around you, and you're looking really at maximum range of, probably 200, 250, 250 yards. So really is very versatile for that type of environment, but really can be used anywhere. Okay, also the build quality. As I said, you really have to pick one of these up. They're constructed, it's forged steel receiver. It's got a walnut stock and handguard. Beautifully done, really beautifully done. Good stippling, very nice. Now I have polished mine a little, so it looks a little nicer than yours might when you first get it. They are equipped, obviously, with factory iron sights. I have changed mine, and we'll get to that in a minute. But they come with semi buckhorn sights, pretty classic, again, for any sort of lever action. So if you're used to that thing, something like this is going to fall right in line. These come optics ready. They are drilled and tapped on the receiver for mounting a Picatinny rail, so you can put whatever scope you want on it. I have this Vortex Sonora 4 to 12 by 44. This serves me very well. It's not an incredible scope. I think it's pretty much just right. Serves me just right for what I'm looking for. This will definitely get me out to the range that I need, that I'm going to be shooting at, that I'm going to be looking to get a deer with. It is at it. Now these come in typically 20-inch barrels. I think they may have one maybe slightly larger, and I don't know if they have like a 16-inch also. But the 20-inch barrel is kind of a balance between maneuverability and accuracy. So again, very classic design. Not only that, I would have to say, now once you get a scope on it, it does get a little bit more heavy. But without that, if you're just going to go use it with irons, these are surprisingly light, you will find out. And you can get them in and out of tough spaces, brush, bramble, anything you need at it. These are surprisingly lightweight and easy to handle. They'll get you in and out of thick brush or tight spaces. And then, as we said, you've got the side ejection port and the more advanced ejector rather than what the Marlin uses. Capacity is going to depend on which one you get. It's going to be 5 to 6 rounds, but again, for a lever action, that's pretty much perfect. That's what you're looking at. Also, the price point. Now, and here's the thing. So this is a Rossi. It's going to have a good price point. Is it going to be the same as an R92? No, it's not. This rifle has much more in it. It's well built. It's hardy. It's really everything you want, and it is a step up above the R92. So it does garner a higher price tag, but that price tag is not what you're going to find a lot of the other lever actions of this quality point, what you're going to find them at. So Marlin, as everyone knows, that has been sold to Ruger, and they are making them again. Now, Marlin has come and gone in quality over the past few years. So some of the more recent ones, a lot of people have said they don't like them and that they've had issues. Now, I know now that they're back with Ruger, that may no longer be the thing. But either way, if you want to move to something else and you don't want to have to pay a fortune for it, I would really consider one of these. Again, you've got the versatility of the 30-30 chambering. You've got reliability of the lever action mechanism. Really easy to use, really easy to maintain. Cleaning it is easy, breaking it down is easy. Lever actions in general, pretty easy to maintain and care for. Unless, of course, you open them up and try to, fix something inside, then you're going to get into a problem. As I said, I had a Rossi 92 in 357. Actually did open that one up to put in, I think I was putting in like a different trigger to it. And I tell you, it was not great. Let me just put it that way. Lever actions are not something that you want to tackle fixing yourself unless you really know what is going on. So what are the uses of something like this? Well, again, primarily, you're going to be looking at hunting. So these would be ideal for deer, hogs, and generally any other medium game within the typical ranges. Recreational shooting, obviously, they're great for targets. So if you're going to do cowboy action with these, I don't think, at least not currently, I don't think they have a 357 in the R95 yet. I do know they have 45 Colt, so if you are cowboy action and you run 45 Colt, you'd be fine. You could get one of those. If you're 357, you may have to wait a little bit. But let me just give you some close-ups of this. Really is just an absolutely beautiful rifle. And as I said, if you're thinking of getting, or you've always wanted to get, a Marlin type rifle, I would really consider one of these. I think you will be very, very happy. It's got the Rossi symbol emblazoned there. And the construction is it's just amazing. It really is. And it is so, so smooth. Now, I've picked up some Marlins before. New ones, old ones. The old ones, once they get worked in, they're smooth. This one is smooth right out of the box. No problem. You're not going to have to go fire, a few hundred rounds before it gets to that point. So what are the other features? Obviously you've got sling studs fore and aft. Now these do come with iron sights. I changed mine out for fiber optic on the front, and then I went with the bullseye in the back for my aging eyes that need a little help. I did shoot this quite a bit before I put the scope on it, and it is just loads and loads of fun. Now, 30-30 isn't the cheapest round out there, so if you don't reload, this might get to be costing you something. If you do reload, however, I think you'll be fine. Now, I can show you one of these. I can't show you how they're made, unfortunately, or tell you, but these are some of the reloads that I make. And these are actually made with Trail Boss powder. And you can look it up in any kind of loading magazine or loading book that you want. And these Trail Boss rounds really are something else. Now, unfortunately, I had some video of myself shooting these. Unfortunately, I lost it. I just don't have it right now. But I can tell you, it's almost like shooting like a 22 or something like that. There's nearly no recoil to them at all. And it's great for just practice, or for someone who's learning and you don't want to give them a full strength round, something like that. So, if you do reload for 30, look those up. Look up those Trail Boss loadings, and I think you'll be pleasantly surprised by those. What is some of the other ammo that I've used with these? Well, of course, this classic Hornady whitetail. These are great for hunting or for range. We can take a look at these. And this is probably what I've shot the most with it, I would say, except for my own stuff. So these are semi-jacketed, and these are great. These really are. They're very accurate. I had no problem with them. The ones I really like, though, are these. This is the Federal Hammer Down, the 30-30. These are really, really nice. You can see I've shot up a few of them already. These are really, really nice. They're nickel-plated rounds. It's got a different type of design. It's more of a flat nose design. It is semi-jacketed. And these, the reason for these was because they just feed so well, basically. And they really do hit hard. And that's what this one is sighted in for. I'll roll in just a shot here of some of me sighting this in. Didn't take that long. It sighted in pretty quick. So I'm all ready. This is what I'm going to be using for deer season this year. I know I should be out there already, but unfortunately, life has kept me from that. I really do suggest everyone go give one of these a try. If you don't have the cash, or you just don't want to spend it on a Marlin and kind of wonder about what the quality is going to be like, I would really consider these. Now, if you can find an old Marlin, something like that, a nice smooth Marlin that's been shot well, maybe put down some money on something like that. I tell you, the guys in the shops, though, they really know what they're worth. So unless you can get a deal, unless you know someone who's got one for sale, I tell you, though, you're pretty much going to be paying a premium, even for the old ones. So this really is something to think about. It is that design. It's the classic 336 design with some upgrades, like I said, and it does have that really, really nice build quality that we're all looking for. Now, any bad points about this? There is one, and I will say that. For some reason, on their handguards. They bring it up to it's like a perfect level here. You know, it's got this point. I really wish they would. What they would do is just kind of round off these handguards rather than having it at such a sharp angle, because you can see already I've already nicked this, and I get the feeling that's going to happen quite a bit. Now I've actually thought about just taking a file and going across this and just rounding it off myself, and then putting a little finish on there. I don't know if I really want to do that though, so I might just have to live with this little ding. But that's probably my only complaint. You can see here, same thing over here. And, you know, and after a while, you know, the color's going to come off those edges too, which is another reason, you know, you don't really want to have hard edges like that, especially on a piece of wood for a tool that you're going to be taking in and out of the woods and, you know, taking it into all the elements as well. But this is really, really, I cannot say, I know I've said it enough times already, but I cannot say how nice of quality these are. And this is coming from someone who's A, owned Henry's, and B, who has owned R92s before. Between this and the R92, there really is absolutely no comparison. There just isn't. The R92, you know, if you just want a cheap 357 carbine, they're fine for that. Or at least they were back when they were, a decent price before the coof. Oh, now they're really getting up there. And you almost wonder if you should just skip it all. Like I said, just get one of these anyways. If they do come out with a 357, or if they have one, I really may have to consider that. So anyways, folks, that's about all I have for you. I really just wanted to show you this and how nice it was, and kind of show you what I'm going to be using this year as my deer rifle. This is going to be my deer rifle this year and probably for many years after. And I'll probably hand this down. Anyways, folks, that is about all I have for you. There are not a lot of videos out there on the internet covering these R95s. So I'm hoping this gets some traction. And what I'm also hoping is some of you out there who own these, and I know there are those of you who do, because the few videos there are on this rifle, they have a lot of comments. And I would like you to comment and let me know, if you have one, what you think of it. And I think you're probably going to agree with me how nice they are. If you don't have one, if you've been thinking about it, let me know that as well. If you don't think that Rossi is a proper alternative, go ahead and let us know that as well. But I'd really like to get the discussion going here. Let me know what you think. I try to answer all of my comments and try to stay engaged, excuse me, as much as I can. But that is about all I have, folks. If you would, on the way out, please like, share, and subscribe. And don't forget to fire off around at that bell notification. Let us know you're out there, and let us know you want to see our videos when they drop every morning at 9 a.m. Folks, I am Tack Nerd, and I am out of here.